It was late afternoon when everything started. Not night yet, not day anymore. That quiet hour when the world slows down. But people don't. I had come for something simple. A quick stop, in and out. The kind of errand you forget 5 minutes later. The parking lot was full. Cars circling, engines humming, doors slamming. People moving fast, eyes locked on their phones or the ground. Everyone had somewhere to be. No one had time for patience. I parked farther than I wanted to. It already felt like a small loss, even though it shouldn't have mattered. As I walked toward the entrance, I noticed them. A couple standing near their car. They were arguing, not loudly, but intensely. The kind of argument that doesn't need shouting to be dangerous. I looked away. Not my business. Inside the store, time passed slowly. Bright lights, long aisles, the smell of wood, metal, and dust. I picked up what I needed, checked my phone, and headed back out. That's when I saw him again. He was standing near my car now, too close. At first, I told myself it was nothing, just coincidence, just another person walking through a crowded lot. But something felt wrong. I slowed my steps, watched carefully. He was talking to someone else, a man I hadn't seen before. Their voices were low but sharp. Every word felt like it had weight behind it. I stopped walking. People always say they don't know how conflicts start, that they appear out of nowhere. That's not true. They start quietly, with tension, with pride, with the decision to not walk away. One man took a step closer. The other didn't move. Neither wanted to be the first to back down. I could see it in their faces, tight jaws, eyes locked, hands stiff at their sides. Someone laughed, short and cold. Not because something was funny, but because anger sometimes sounds like humor before it turns into something else. I should have left. I knew that. Instead, I stood there. The argument wasn't about anything important. It never is. A parking spot, a word misunderstood, a look taken the wrong way, things that only matter when ego takes control. The first push came suddenly. Not hard, almost accidental, but it changed everything. Silence followed. That heavy electric silence where everyone knows what comes next. People nearby froze. Some looked away. Some pulled out their phones. The man who had been pushed straightened his shoulders. His face changed. Anger does that. It rewrites a person in seconds. He swung. The sound was dull, flesh against flesh, a sound you don't forget once you hear it. Someone gasped. The other man stumbled back, hitting the side of a car. Metal shook, an alarm chirped, then stopped. For a moment, no one moved. Then chaos. Shouting. Someone yelling to stop. Someone else yelling to call the police. The man who threw the punch stood still, breathing hard. His hand shook. He didn't look victorious. He looked confused, like he had just woken up in the wrong place. The other man wiped blood from his lip. His eyes were wide, not with rage, but shock. That's the thing about violence. It never feels the way people imagine it will. There was no triumph, no release, only tension, multiplied. I felt my heart racing, not because I was involved, but because I had witnessed something that couldn't be undone. A security guard appeared from nowhere, shouting orders. Someone had already called for help. People started to scatter, not wanting to be part of it anymore, not wanting their faces on camera, not wanting responsibility. The man who threw the punch sat down on the curb, his head in his hands. Minutes passed. Police arrived, lights flashing, questions asked. The story began to change depending on who told it. I was just defending myself. He started it. It wasn't that serious. Every version slightly different. Every version trying to escape blame. I stood there longer than I should have, watching the aftermath, because the fight was already over, but its consequences were just beginning. One man was taken aside, hands behind his back. Not tightly, not violently, just enough to make it real. The other man sat in the back of an ambulance, staring at nothing. His jaw clenched. His pride hurt more than his face. The parking lot slowly returned to normal. Cars started again, doors slammed. People walked past like nothing had happened. That's how fast the world moves on. But for the two men involved, time had stopped. That evening, one of them would go home, replaying the moment again and again, thinking about the punch, the second before it landed, the second after. The other would sit in silence, feeling embarrassment, anger, and regret blend into something heavy. Both would tell themselves the same lie. It wasn't a big deal. But it was. Because violence doesn't end when the crowd leaves. It follows you into quiet rooms, into sleepless nights, into the future you didn't think about, all of it, because no one walked away when they still could.